The importance of raw materials is huge. And that is oftentimes, one of the starting pieces that we pull from after we look to our environment and start to get a grasp and a feel of what we want this design to be. We'll look to the raw materials next.
It is true that we use stone and tile products in almost every project that we work on.
They will create the texture, the color, the softness, or the hardness of any space. Raw materials such as stone and tile help create the background for which our other layers will be built upon. Even if it's a natural material such as granite or slate or quartzite, it's been around forever. But how can we take that material and use it in a different way?
The richness, the color, the vibrancy, and what better natural material than natural stone?
Well, Arizona Tile has become one of the largest importers of granite slabs in the United States. All of our suppliers understand that we're offering the best quality available in the stone industry.
We're always looking for new products, which is one of the more exciting aspects of our business. It's actually really a fun thing to do, to go and find product, sometimes in its infancy, in a state where it's really not quite ready for the market, but to develop that and to give those producers a little bit better of an idea of what our market is going to require. We have people in place in our source countries in Brazil, in China, in Italy, in South Africa, people that are there to inspect the product at its birth, when it's first brought into slab form.
So there's an ongoing quality awareness all the time.
My name is Roy Kunihiro. I'm the general manager of the stone division for Arizona Tile, and my function at Arizona Tile is to source new and exciting stones. I've had the privilege to travel around the world. I've always loved rocks. Well, the first thing you do when you start a quarry is you do these core drilling to map out the formation of the stone, to see how large of a formation we're talking about, to see if there's any changes in the depth of the material as you go further down into the formation, because we don't want to start into a material and have to discontinue it 6 months down the line. And once you've established that, that's when you first start actually excavating what we call overburden, the topsoil that's covering the formation of the stone.
Only then you finally start to get usable stone.
The first thing they start to do is they'll do jackhammer drilling, and then they'll establish a bench. They'll lower the bench, and then from that bench they'll create blocks that are transportable on a truck. Once they create the blocks that are transferable to the factory, they'll start processing slabs under the gang saw or tiles under a block saw. Most factories have jumbo gang saws, which can cut 150 slabs at one time. And then for those very delicate and difficult materials, we use a diamond wire saw. It's a much more costly way to cut a slab, but your recovery rate and your efficiency of cutting is much higher opposed to the traditional gang saw. The reason why the synthetic diamonds are used is because it has a hardness of 10 on a Mohs scale. And typically granites are rated about anywhere from 5 to a 7 on a Mohs scale, 10 being the hardest. So it's a harder material cutting a softer material. Water is very important because if you didn't use water, you would burn up the diamond blades. If you didn't use water with the carbide particles, the slurry would not occur. Honing is a stage in between the raw surface of the slab and the actual polished state of the slab.
Slabs are frequently book matched, meaning they are cut, polished on alternating sides, and packed to keep the slabs together that create a mirror-like image. This allows for a consistent flow and pattern and a stunning installation. 95% of our slabs have a process called resin phase treatment.
It's not to strengthen the integrity of the slab, but more to improve the aesthetic appeal of the slab. It fills in the microfissures and pits. Once the resin is dried, then it goes through a polishing process, and most of the resin is eliminated at that point, except for the areas where it has the microfissures and pits.
For fragile materials, a mesh backing is adhered to the back of the stone to protect it throughout the handling and fabrication process.
Once that is done, the slabs are bundled up into wooden bundles, and then it will be loaded onto container vessels, usually mega vessels that hold anywhere from 6,000 to 8,000 containers per vessel, and shipped to either Los Angeles or Houston. Once the materials arrive at the designated branches, They offload the truck, they unbundle the crates, they'll put the slabs on an A-frame, and that is the first opportunity the customers has to view the actual slabs.
Currently, we have 25 locations throughout 7 states. Of these 25, 20 of them are slab stocking locations.
My name is Shelby Reed, and I am a customer service rep for Arizona Tile in the slab department. When we have a new client come in, what we really want to do is qualify them and really kind of get a feel for what they're doing. Some of those things would include, how many rooms we're doing in their house, if they're building, if they're remodeling, if we're doing a kitchen and a bathroom. That's going to tell us how many slabs they're going to need for each area. It's also going to give us an idea for, what types of stone are going to go best in each specific area as well. That's when we can come out here to the warehouse and we can start narrowing things down. We start finding out whether, the client likes a real consistent pebbly look, small crystal grain, or if that client likes large crystals, and a lot of veining in their stone. Probably the number one thing that catches people most off guard is the extensive range of product that we have available to them. They have no idea that there's this many colors to choose from. On one hand, it can be very overwhelming. On the other hand, we've got something for everyone. It's very personal. And so if they're not quite ready to make a selection and actually put stone on hold, then we've got samples that we can send home with them. That helps clients who are overwhelmed tremendously. Then they can kind of take them home, relax, narrow it down to a couple colors, and then come back down to make their selections. If they've already got something on hold, then at that point we will go ahead and assign a customer service rep to them that can look up their slabs and get them pulled. Within a color of stone, depending on where they are in the quarry and that cut and that block, that color can change dramatically. So at that point, we'll see what we have available in that color, pull those out, and actually take a really good look at them. The client is going to look them over aesthetically. They're going to look over the stone for color, veining, how the different cuts are going to work in their specific application. And then the customer service rep is going to look that stone over for anything that would impact the job. If it has cracks, if it has pits, if it has factory fill in the stone. These are all things that we will look for and make the client aware of before they put that stone on hold and before that stone leaves here to go to their fabricator.
Hi, my name is Sean Harden. I'm with Majestic Stone. We're a full fabrication custom shop. So anything with a natural product we can fabricate. We take the raw material from our vendor, Arizona Tile, and bring it in and customize it, put an edge detail on it, and put it out as a finished product to the consumer. Before we can begin our work, we need a first template, and that is the blueprint for our fabrication. We have 2 systems. We have a Luan system, which is a 1/8 of an inch piece of material that we cut into 3 and 4 inch strips to use for the template. And then we also have a digital templating system that we can use and put into a CAD program. And we have machines here that are capable of taking that CAD program and put it in a system to where it'll cut the stone. We get any information that we can possibly get on that job is marked on the templates. And then we follow it up with a drawing of our own, and then we put in our own dimensions and everything on those drawings so that we have 2 things to be looking at when we're fabricating. When the slab comes into Majestic Stone, we size it and make sure it's going to fit the templates for the job. And then we inspect it to the quality of the material for the customer and make sure that the direction and the veining, any type of pattern that's in the stone, we can actually put together and make it look like it's going to flow and not be disjointed for the consumer. We have a bridge saw here that has a complete 360-degree table that we can spin at any degree to cut at any angle. We run an 18-inch saw blade, and it's fed by water so that we can make sure that the material's not damaged, the blade's not damaged, because once you get that blade to hit the stone, it'll heat up. So it's got to be water fed. And then from there, it's taken into an edge detail process. It's either taken to a machine or possibly done by hand. If a piece comes into our shop that needs to be edged on a straight line, we have a straight line edge machine that goes up to 12 feet. So we can do 12 feet of edge at one given time. And that's our Pro Edge machine. If we can't do it on the Pro Edge, we can do it on our CNC machine that we have here in the shop. We can have numerous detail edges on there, anything from like an OG down to a bevel or even an eased and polished. And it cuts out any shape or size of sink that we need done for that job. All our tools are diamond impregnated, which they're made up of steels, metals, carbide, resins, anything that can keep that tool together. And then, of course, the diamonds cut the stone. The machines that we run, some of them need to have a pristine, clean water to run through the spindle. And to allow that to happen, we have a system that will recycle the water. We actually harness the water that we have, and we clean the water that we use here in the shop. We do 90% of our edge details with the machines, but we still need the hand fabrication to finish the product. And then it's always at that touch-up stage to where if there's a chip or a blemish or something that maybe shouldn't be there, we can fix that in the hand fabrication and make sure that it's at the perfect stage it should be before it goes out the door.
This is a spec home we're building in the Ravenna development in Morrison, Colorado. We're putting a lot of stone in this particular house, obviously with the help of Arizona Tile. We're using a lot of the natural stones as well as all the granite and all the countertops throughout. I'm Luke Waugh with Saddleback Design and Majestic Stone. Usually you find the most detailed, more crucial part of a house installation is the tile. That's where most people's emotions are really tied up in. Obviously your kitchens and baths are generally what sells a home. When you get into the upper, more the custom development type of stuff, obviously a buyer is being more discriminate, looking for the natural stones, the marbles, the granites. That's basically the product that's going in here, and the selection that Arizona Tile has always been the best out there. We've been working with Arizona Tile for about 10 years. Created a great partnership with them. If we have a need or a question, things are, everyone's right on top of it. They do great work on getting samples, getting us set up with displays, and then obviously the product that Arizona Tile delivers is always a step above a lot of the other vendors that we work with.
I think Arizona Tile will continue to grow, and it will be one of the strongest forces in the stone industry in the United States.
We work very hard at getting a beautiful product to the right place at the right time on a consistent service level. And that's really what we do.